Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuansheng Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 176, 431, 11 Nations Within, A Golden Body of One Zhong and 6. 176th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Qilin Zhuang stood proudly atop the head of a mountain-sized Qilin phantom, clad in dragon armor. The phantom strode toward the south city gate, closing in on the Zhenhai Guanwu. His eyes blazed with determination, and above his head floated the supreme magic artifact, the Night Emperor Silver Moon. Without a trace of fear or contempt, Qilin Zhuang met Zhenhai Guanwu's gaze. Mist Heavenly Sovereign, you once slew the flying dragon with such vigor, your name shook Yingzhou. Now, 2,800 years later, the son of the flying dragon, Zhuang, has returned for vengeance. The phoenix nest hovered in the sky, appearing as vast as a planet, even more magnificent than Lingxiao City. Its radiant glow enveloped the land for thousands of miles. The azure phoenix, in human form, stood atop the phoenix nest, her azure robes flowing like a painted scroll. Where is Yu Yaozi? We can't let her escape. Otherwise, the consequences will be endless. At that moment, all the transcendent present deeply realized the consequences of failing to strike at the root. 2,800 years ago, Qilin Zhuang had escaped, only to return and overturn the entire Lingxiao realm. Today, they were about to slay Zhenhai Guanwu and destroy Lingxiao City. Who dared gamble that Yu Yaozi couldn't reforge the other shore heavenly pill and return a millennium later to settle accounts? Zhenhai Guanwu's flesh and blood rapidly regenerated, her figure radiating an unparalleled aura as she stood alone with her sword. The battle isn't over yet, she declared, who lives and who dies remains to be seen. Mist Heavenly Sovereign, what admirable spirit. Mountain Lord Weiwo, a golden tiger with the bloodline of an ancient immortal giant beast and the leader of the Lingxiao realm's 4 great demon kings, roared, "May I ask, where have you been all these years?" Zhenhai Guanwu offered no response. Roar. Within the city, atop the Phoenix Pavilion, the ghost banner fluttered above the heavenly law Earth Spring. Having absorbed sufficient spiritual qi, the ghost banner unleashed a howling yin wind, its ghost qi spreading like a miasma. From this spectral mist rose a colossal yin ghost war general. With a ram's head, clad in armor, and wielding a war halberd, it radiated an overwhelming, bone-chilling aura. At its helm stood the third palace master. The demon kingdom crown prince frowned. The Moi ghost god banner has fallen into your hands. It seems my imperial uncle has perished. Though the Moi ghost god was formidable, the demon kingdom crown prince, Qilin Zhuang, Lord Lan, the second palace master, Azure Phoenix, and Mountain Weiwo, beings of their caliber, felt no fear. The second palace master saw through Zhenhai Guanwu's facade. Master, your internal organs are already shattered, aren't they? Your spiritual qi is in chaos. Can those 2 foreign other shore heavenly pills still hold you together? I dare say you're on the verge of exploding from within, barely maintaining control with your immense psychic power. Lord Lan held the yellow mud lamp, 5 transcendent dead spirits standing in formation behind him, their feet resting on a sea of corpses bathed in ethereal light. At this moment, he feared nothing in the world. Let's move. After we deal with her, we'll wipe out the Snow Sword Tang Court, the Zuoqiu clan, and the Thundercloud sect. Those ancient myriad sects also have plenty of treasures, their accumulated wealth is substantial. Zhenhai Guanwu advanced step by step, the void sword hovering above her head. A vast Buddhist's voice resonated within her, and endless Buddhist light bloomed beneath her feet, golden lotuses blossoming across the land. Xian Min, she said, you think you understand your master, but do you truly? You weren't even born when I conquered the world. You still have much to learn. I also cultivate the Void Enlightenment Manual, Master, the second palace master replied, your bluster won't work. Zhenhai Guanwu swept her gaze across all the transcendent beings present and the supreme spiritual artifacts suspended in the air. Since everyone's here, this battle officially begins now. No one will escape. Today, I will slaughter every transcendent until I've purged this world of darkness and forged a new future. Only by saturating the soil of the cloud heaven immortal plane with transcendent blood can we suppress the world for another 3,000 years. Her words rang out with unwavering conviction, each syllable striking the ground with resounding force. The confidence and determination in her voice startled the transcendent present, who had previously believed the battle was already decided. They now grew cautious. Qilin Zhuang subtly lowered the Night Emperor Silver Moon, drawing it closer to his body. The Demon Kingdom Crown Prince activated 3 immortal gates, circulating spiritual qi within his body. Lord Lan's lamp burned with even greater brilliance. The phoenix nest rapidly contracted in size, its light growing blindingly intense. The name, Zhenhai Guanwu, carried immense weight. Duke Taishi lay gravely wounded, on the verge of death. Within his brow center spirit realm, the sea of psychic power stars burned fiercely to sustain the immortal origin formation. Both his body and psychic power were nearing exhaustion. He gazed at the proud figure of Zhenhai Guanwu facing the overwhelming enemy forces alone. Gradually, her silhouette merged with the memory of his teacher, the same indomitable spirit, the same disdain for the world. Weak and murmuring, Duke Tai Shi whispered, "She's back. Teacher is truly back. Xian Min, you think my viscera are my weakness? Have you forgotten that the 5 viscera and 6 bowels are the 11 kingdoms of the human body? 11 kingdoms hidden within the abdomen." Zhenhai Guanwu roared, her body soaring into the air, radiating boundless Buddhist light. The 5 viscera and 6 bowels within her resonated with sonorous Buddhist chants, transforming into 11 Buddhist kingdoms, each filled with countless monks chanting scriptures. Golden patterns began to appear across her flesh and skin. The Demon Kingdom Crown Prince and Qilin Zhuang were the first to sense the anomaly. Zhenhai Guanwu's aura was rapidly escalating. The two attacked simultaneously, streaks of light converging on her from left and right. Zhenhai Guanwu extended both palms, seizing their incoming fist and claw. Boom! A cataclysmic surge of energy erupted between them, sweeping across the cloud heaven immortal plane. The earth buckled and cracked, fissures spreading across the land. All the transcendent beings were terrified, retreating in unison. Those who lingered too close risked being injured by the shockwaves. The Demon Kingdom Crown Prince's eyes widened in disbelief. Their combined full-force strike, a collaboration with Qilin Zhuang, had been effortlessly intercepted by Zhenhai Guanwu. Not only had she blocked the attack, but her physical form remained completely unscathed. Golden body. 16-foot golden body. The golden radiance emanating from Zhenhai Guanwu intensified. Amidst the resounding chants of the 11 Buddhist kingdoms, her body grew taller and taller, until it reached 16 feet, shimmering like pure gold. Even her hair was golden. The Demon Kingdom Crown Prince and Qilin Zhuang felt an overwhelming, irresistible force pressing down on them. The Zhenhai Guanwu's power forced them to retreat relentlessly, their feet unable to find purchase. 11 kingdoms hidden within her abdomen, a 16-foot golden body. This isn't an imperial technique, it's an immortal technique, definitely a physical manifestation of celestial technique. Quickly, use your supreme spiritual artifacts. Only they can break through her golden body. The second palace master's face paled as ancient, bloodline deep reverence surged through her. Lord Lan unleashed the yellow mud lamp at full power. Its soul-searing flames and radiant light erupted with supreme magical might, scorching the ground beneath its path into a molten river of lava. Azure Phoenix, riding the phoenix nest, descended to suppress the temple. Zhenhai Guanwu flung Qilin Zhuang toward the phoenix nest. Azure Phoenix swiftly converted her offensive power into defensive force, creating 13 layers of shimmering barriers to catch Qilin Zhuang. The Demon Kingdom Crown Prince, his hand gripped tightly by Zhenhai Guanwu, struggled to break free. He desperately threw another punch. Boom! Before his fist could land, Zhenhai Guanwu's golden Buddha palm struck the crown of his head, driving his neck deep into his torso until only his head remained perched on his shoulders. Despite the Demon Kingdom Crown Prince's protective treasures, he fell into a dazed stupor, blood streaming from his 7 orifices. Boom! Zhenhai Guanwu struck Lord Lan's chest with another palm, shattering his armor completely. Blood and flesh splattered from his upper body as he was sent flying like a cannonball. In the next instant, she didn't flinch or dodge, instead colliding her 16-foot golden body directly with the yellow mud lamp. With a thunderous crash, the yellow mud lamp was sent hurtling sideways. Lord Lan was stunned. He had never imagined anyone could break through the attack of a supreme spiritual artifact in such a way. This was a supreme spiritual artifact, even the martial mystic Dao Heavenly Emperor wouldn't dare face its full force with their bare body. Not good. In Lord Lan's pupils, the 16-foot golden body of Zhenhai Guanwu rapidly expanded, closing in on him. I possess the corpse of an ancient celestial emperor. How could I fear you? The orchid mark on Lord Lan's brow flashed, and the surrounding void filled with orchid petals, each inscribed with scriptures. Flanked by 5 transcendent dead spirits, he formed a battle formation and unleashed a mysterious Dao technique. Boom! Zhenhai Guanwu shattered the Dao technique with a single palm strike, then unleashed 7 consecutive strikes. Each palm sent the 6 transcendent dead spirits, including Lord Lan, hurtling backward in explosive retreats. The 8th palm pierced through the battle formation, followed by 5 thunderous blasts. Except for Lord Lan, all 5 transcendent dead spirits were annihilated. It was terrifying. Lord Lan was the overlord of a vast territory within the nether realm of the dead, allowing him to command nearly 10 transcendent beings. In the netherworld, each transcendent ruled over vast domains spanning tens of thousands of miles. Yet today, they had been wiped out in an instant. As one might imagine, the southeastern netherworld would soon descend into chaos, as old powers gave way to new. The 4 extremes Ape King, witnessing this carnage, turned and fled, his heart pounding like a drum, nearly scaring the transcendent to death. He regretted ascending to the cloud heaven immortal plane so hastily, Had he known this would happen, he would have continued his attack on South Yan Pass for longer. I told you, none of you are leaving. Zhenhai Guanwu grasped the void sword floating above her head and pursued the Four Extremes Ape King. Hovering in midair, she slashed out a nether river, severing the Ape King's mountain-sized head. Transcendent blood cascaded to the ground like a waterfall. The spell, 11 kingdoms hidden within the abdomen, 16-foot golden body, was cast using Yu Yaozi's other Shore Buddha pill and the residual Heavenly Emperor's power within her bones. It could not be sustained for long. Therefore, she had to wait for all her enemies to gather and eliminate them swiftly. She needed to use this battle to cleanse the Lingxiao realm's surroundings. Only then would the human clan have a chance of victory, and the living realm would not become a rice realm, a demon kingdom, or a netherworld. Qilin Zhuang channeled the full supreme power of the Night Emperor Silver Moon. The silver moon spun into the air, its silvery scriptures transforming into a vast ocean. Even the martial mystic Dao Heavenly Emperor would have to temporarily evade this strike without using a supreme spiritual artifact. Boom. Zhenhai Guanwu strode forward, slashing her sword at the incoming Night Emperor Silver Moon. The supreme spiritual artifact's power repelled her dozens of miles. Regaining her footing, she spun to evade the Silver Moon. In the next instant, she transformed into a golden streak of light, her sword cleaving through the air to strike Qilin Zhuang. Qilin Zhuang's dragon armor was his true heavy artifact, while the Night Emperor Silver Moon was merely borrowed. The dragon armor erupted with phantom images of 10,000 dragons, clashing head-on with the void sword. Bang! The phantom dragons shattered, the void sword tore through the dragon armor, and Qilin Zhuang was sent crashing to the ground, blood spraying from his body. The impact cratered the earth into a mile-wide crater. Qilin Zhuang knelt at the bottom, looking up. He saw a golden beam of light piercing straight through the phoenix nest. At the beam's apex stood Zhenhai Guanwu, her sword poised to strike down at the azure phoenix, which was desperately trying to escape. PFF'd. Blood stained the sky as the azure phoenix's massive body split in two, its beak emitting a piercing, mournful cry. The sword's force even cleaved through the immortal plane's protective formation. Half of the azure phoenix's body fell onto the immortal planes, while the other half plummeted over the cliff's edge. Dongyu Pass. Sha Jin blocked the blazing spirit transcendent attempting to breach the pass, her gaze drawn to the crimson sky in the distance. She saw the azure phoenix's mangled corpse plummeting, and her heart trembled violently. Master Guan stood tall, chest puffed out, and declared, "See. Now do you believe your uncle Master? How does your cultivation compare to the azure phoenix's? Your uncle Master doesn't want to see you throw your lives away. The Mist Heavenly Sovereign's return guarantees a bloodbath. The Emperor's sword will drive all transcendent beings into the shadows, never again daring to stir up trouble in the sunlight or plague the common folk." Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuansheng Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 177 432 Bloodstains the Western Territory. 177th of Volume 4. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. The entire cloud heaven immortal plane was enveloped in spiritual chi, the earth shook violently, the blood mist churned, and scripture fragments scattered like rain. A golden radiance moved with blinding speed, flashing like starlight across the sky. The surrounding provinces felt the overwhelming power of Zhenhai Guanwu, and countless living beings prostrated themselves, worshipping the immortal plane. The army of the dead had lost its initial momentum. Some ghost marquises and ghost monarchs sensed something amiss. Peering into the distance, they saw the ghost king they had sworn allegiance to, a being whose combat prowess rivaled that of transcendent humans, obliterated by a single palm strike from an unknown entity. The demon kingdom's elites overseeing the blood sacrifice altars, acutely aware of danger, immediately ordered their forces to pack their belongings and prepare for immediate evacuation upon seeing the azure phoenix's mangled corpse plummet from the cliff. Those who had cultivated to the Dao Seed realm and immortal realm possessed extraordinary insight, capable of independently assessing the situation. Nearly all transcendents possessed formidable protective treasures and had cultivated escape techniques for millennia. Yet none of it mattered. They couldn't defend themselves, nor could they flee. Zhenhai Guanwu, wielding the physical immortal technique, had surpassed their comprehension of both power and speed. If she could maintain this state indefinitely, she would have used this move long ago, Qilin Zhuang declared in a deep voice, rallying his troops. He then turned to the crown prince of the demon kingdom. A resolute light surged in both their eyes, the indomitable will forged from millennia of cultivation rapidly suppressing their fear and rekindling their battle spirit. Fight! The crown prince of the demon kingdom, with his towering physique and vitality far exceeding other transcendents, regrew his severed neck. His upper body was tattered, the blood flowing from his wounds igniting into inky demonic flames. The surrounding sky darkened to a pitch-black hue. Spatial power violently shook around his ancestral field, tearing the flesh of his abdomen. Heaven. Awaken. The crown prince threw his arms wide and roared skyward. From his ancestral field erupted a scripture river and a sea of spiritual qi, enveloping his body in layers of protective barriers. The mere residual shockwaves leveled the land for miles around his feet. In the distance, Lingxiao City crumbled under the relentless attack of inky spiritual qi. The third palace master manipulated the ghost banner, flying it toward the south city of Lingxiao City. The towering figure of the Moyi ghost god, wreathed in ghostly energy and cloud mist, stood at the edge of the ruined city. From its mouth poured dueling cold fire, blocking the destructive aura unleashed by the crown prince of the demon kingdom. At that moment, the citizens of Lingxiao City had yet to fully evacuate. The fourth immortal gate, heavenly revelation, possessed the greatest power. The crown prince of the demon kingdom had yet to fully master it, requiring time and sacrifice to unleash its full potential. Would Zhenhai Guanwu grant him such an opportunity? She descended from midair in an instant, her sword slashing down in a decisive strike. The second palace master and Lord Lan intercepted her from the left and right, attempting to buy time for the crown prince of the demon kingdom. The orchid pattern between Lord Lan's eyebrows flickered, and Heavenly Emperor scriptures materialized across his skin, unleashing the remnant power of the Heavenly Emperor from his corpse. Every strand of his hair crackled with lightning, and each glance could cleave through the void as he ascended to his peak state. Boom! The void sword shattered the light barrier erected by the yellow mud lamp, annihilating all the spectral images of the sea of corpses. Zhenhai Guanwu landed, and the three warriors clashed in a furious melee. The second palace master moved with lightning speed, her body transforming into pure electricity as she assisted Lord Lan, circling the periphery of the battle. Having cultivated the Nine Heavens secret treasury, her mastery of thunder method was unparalleled. Lord Lan's formidable combat prowess allowed him to temporarily withstand Zhenhai Guanwu's relentless attack. Boom! The second palace master's twin swords shattered into two broken blades under Zhenhai Guanwu's strike. A deep crimson line appeared across her chest, and the 5 qi seas within her body exploded, plunging her spiritual qi into chaos. She was sent flying backward for dozens of miles, blood gushing from her mouth like a spring. Gazing at the broken swords in her hands, the second palace master felt all will to resist drain away. Her arms went limp, and the shattered blades clattered to the ground. Throughout her life, she had been fiercely competitive, refusing to admit defeat and striving to surpass everyone. Sensing Zhenhai Guanwu's gaze lock onto her, she knew her end was near. Escape was impossible. Desperate to avoid death, the second palace master knelt, tears streaming down her face, just as she had done whenever she made mistakes in her youth. Master. I was wrong. Your disciple knows she was wrong. She hoped to awaken the emotions in Zhenhai Guanwu's heart, believing that only their past affection could serve as her best defense. Zhenhai Guanwu's golden figure materialized before her. With a single finger, he pierced the spirit realm between her eyebrows, then struck her ancestral field with a palm strike. Boom! The second palace master's protective treasures offered no resistance. Her ancestral field shattered, tearing open her entire abdomen. Her body nearly split in two at the waist. 2 other sure heavenly pills materialized in Zhenhai Guanwu's radiant golden palm. As if all her strength had been drained, the second palace master collapsed to her knees, her face deathly pale. Her voice, hoarse and ragged from her shattered lungs, rasped, "Master. I offer you my other sure heavenly pill. I sincerely repent and vow to shave my head and become a nun, dedicating myself to cultivating Buddhist Dharma. Cough cough. To atone for my sins." Zhenhai Guanwu crushed both other sure heavenly pills before her, transforming them into swirling clouds of spiritual qi and endless streams of scripture that dissipated in the wind. The second palace master lifted her head, disbelief etched across her face. No. How could you? Millennia of cultivation, reduced to nothing in an instant before her very eyes. The most precious thing she possessed, the great Tao she valued more than life itself, had been pulverized into dust by Zhenhai Guanwu. The psychological shock was overwhelming, shattering her understanding of reality and invalidating her entire past existence. Let me teach you one final lesson, disciple, Zhenhai Guanwu said, cultivation is not merely about attaining power and strength. Those who cultivate solely for power will inevitably resort to any means necessary, plunging into the abyss of insatiable desire. Zhenhai Guanwu refused to set a poor example for the Void Enlightenment manual lineage. If she seized the pills today, her future disciples and descendants could justify seizing their masters or fellow disciples' cultivation with any fabricated, self-righteous excuse. Zhenhai Guanwu had her own Tao to follow, her own other sure heavenly pill to cultivate. Today, I will cripple your cultivation and take half your life. The remaining half I leave for your senior sister. From this day forward, you will live in constant terror. When she emerges from the 6 thoughts divine mind curse, her willpower will reach unprecedented heights, bringing her within reach of becoming the martial mystic Tao Heavenly Emperor. From then on, the gap between you will be as vast as the heavens and the dust. Zhenhai Guanwu had absolute faith in Yu Yaozi. Xuanhuan must overcome this trial herself. Sow the cause, reap the consequence. Sever the cause, attain the fruit. Boom. Zhenhai Guanwu swung the void sword, sending the second palace master flying over 200 miles, a massive cloud of blood mist erupting from her body. She turned away without a second glance, striding forward and unleashing Nether River Sword Chi to attack the crown prince of the Demon Kingdom from the Heavenly Revelation Immortal Gate, as well as Lord Lan, who wielded the yellow mud lamp. Heavenly Emperor Awakening Spirit. Dragon blood ignites. Ow. Qilin Zhuang transformed into his true Qilin form. The Heavenly Emperor dragon blood and dragon soul he had inherited from the flying dragon ignited within him, his scales radiating a cyan glow. His aura surged relentlessly, now carrying the full majesty of a Heavenly Emperor. Master, take the 100 Hells Wind Chime. The third palace master, holding the ghost banner, descended above the Moyi ghost god and hurled the 100 Hells Wind Chime. The chime's resonant tones reverberated, distorting and twisting the surrounding space. Nurtured by the heaven law earth spring of Lingxiao City, the supreme scripture within the 100 Hells Wind Chime fully awakened, unleashing its supreme power in a collision with the four immortal gates, the yellow mud lamp, and the night emperor's silver moon. The mountain monarch of Weiwo and the purple phoenix dared not approach the battlefield directly, instead circling the periphery and launching Dao technique ambushes. Soon after, the third palace master and Tang Shituo joined the fray, activating their supreme artifacts, the Thunderstrike Jade and the Immortal Slaying Sword, respectively. Boom. Rumble. The cloud heaven immortal plain crumbled in vast swaths. As the tremors subsided, Sha Jin and Master Guan ascended to the plain's summit. Before them lay the ruins of Lingxiao City, once a thriving metropolis, now half destroyed, its ruins choked with smoke and flames. The southern region of the immortal plain had collapsed hundreds of feet, its terrain now lower and riddled with fissures. Throughout history, the Lingxiao realm had witnessed countless dynastic shifts. This wasn't the first calamity to befall the cloud heaven immortal plain, but never before had it been so utterly ravaged, its very landscape transformed. Even clashes between martial mystic Dao Heavenly Emperor had never wrought such devastation. After all, the material structure of the cloud heaven immortal plane far surpassed that of the 28 prefectures within the life realm. The thunderous echoes of the Transcendence battle and the surging power of their supreme artifacts had long since drifted beyond the immortal plane, reaching the western territory thousands of miles away. Qilin Zhuang and the others deliberately lured the battle westward, Sha Jin observed, her expression somber. Proceeding cautiously, the pair discovered the corpse of the purple phoenix 2,000 miles from the cloud heaven immortal plane. The purple phoenix's head was missing, its body crushed by the spatial power of the 100 Hells Wind Chime, its bones shattered into a mass of purplish red blood mud. Though its corpse was a treasure beyond measure, Sha Jin dared not claim it. This was both the Mist Celestial's war trophy and the daughter of the flying phoenix. From the horizon came the anguished roar of Mountain Monarch of Weiwo, the Lingxiao realm's foremost demon king. The sky above the western territory turned crimson as its beasts prostrated themselves. By the time Sha Jin and Master Guan arrived, a golden tiger corpse the size of a mountain lay sprawled across the western territory. The blood flowing from the tiger's corpse had pooled into a vast lake, turning the surrounding hundreds of miles into a desolate wasteland. The transcendent power emanating from the area had transformed it into a forbidden zone, where martial mystic cultivators below the Dao Seed realm would have their soul spirits annihilated by the lingering malevolent remnants of filth and calamity. Master Guan jumped into the blood lake for a bath, absorbing a massive amount of transcendent blood essence chi before continuing their journey. Along the way, they constantly encountered transcendent corpses and fragments of spiritual artifacts. Where the battlefield had shifted, mountains lay shattered, rivers had withered, and the landscape had been utterly transformed. Qilin blood and the crown prince of the demon kingdom's demonic blood stained the battlefield, evidence of severe injuries sustained by both. After passing Divine Light Pass, they arrived at a vast, burning plain. A prolonged battle had raged here, turning hundreds of miles into a sea of fire. Lord Lan's yellow mud lamp had fallen here, carving a massive canyon over 90 miles long into the earth. The surrounding region was now eternally ablaze, and even Dao Seed realm martial mystic cultivators who approached would be reduced to ashes. At the bottom of the canyon, Sha Jin discovered Lord Lan's mangled remains. His soul spirit had dissipated, a third of his body had been obliterated, and what remained was riddled with holes. Her heart was filled with complex emotions and profound sorrow. Lord Lan, who possessed the corpse of the martial mystic Dao Heavenly Emperor, had dominated the southeastern nether realms for millennia. He was an ancient figure in southern Yingzhou, yet who could have imagined he would meet his end today? One after another, renowned and supreme figures fell like rain. Who in the world wouldn't tremble with fear? The higher one's cultivation, the greater the terror. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuansheng Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 178 433 1 month later. 178th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. After today, the transcendent dead spirits around the Lingxiao life realm will likely retreat deep into the Netherworld. Especially the dead spirit powerhouses who once occupied the 272 states of the Lingxiao life realm. Sha Jin noticed something and reached out to touch a drop of golden blood on the ground. The Mist Heavenly Sovereign has bled. Yu Daojun and Qilin Zhuang are truly formidable. In their respective eras, they were both invincible in their youth. The young Heavenly Emperor in the Dao Seed realm only possessed combat strength comparable to the martial mystic Dao Heavenly Emperors in their youth. To become a true martial mystic Dao Ancient Heavenly Emperor, one must overcome countless trials. In the future, they must constantly surpass their peers, achieving the pinnacle of each cultivation realm without the slightest complacency. The Demon Kingdom Crown Prince and Qilin Zhuang were also young celestial emperors thousands of years ago. Through millennia of cultivation, they have defeated and slain countless young celestial emperors to reach their current cultivation level. They are now just one step away from becoming true martial mystic Dao Ancient Heavenly Emperors. Master Guan retrieved the yellow mud lamp and tucked it into his robes. He dared to claim treasures that even the Demon King feared to touch. Suddenly, Sha Jinyu's face tightened as she sensed the Demon Emperor's aura. She immediately flew out of the earth-rending gorge, landed on the fire plains, and gazed westward. A resonant phoenix cry echoed from the distant horizon, its melody hauntingly beautiful. Even as a demon king, she knelt on one knee. What are you afraid of? Master Guan scoffed, utterly fearless, I doubt it would dare invade the Lingxiao realm and trigger the demon calamity. The human clan's martial mystic Dao Heavenly Emperors aren't all dead yet. There are rules at the Ancient Heavenly Emperor level. Of course he wasn't afraid. With the Flying Phoenix's level of cultivation, it wouldn't care whether he showed reverence or not. But for a transcendent of the demon clan to lack reverence was another matter entirely. Zhenhai Guanwu stood proudly above the western border azure plains, 4 immortal gates floating around her, relics seized from the Demon Kingdom Crown Prince. Suspended in midair, her golden hair danced like silken threads, her gaze piercing through the vast emptiness to meet the Flying Phoenix's eyes in the far western lands. The void sword in her hand erupted with a piercing clang, answering the phoenix's cry. The sword's clang and the phoenix's cry intertwined, reverberating across the western territory. Little Zhang, the Lingxiao realm is in your hands now. Zhenhai Guanwu's gaze remained unwavering, undeterred by the flying phoenix's aura. Instead, she drew her sword and continued westward, pursuing the gravely wounded Qilin Zhuang as he fled. She understood perfectly that once she had revealed herself, she could no longer remain within the Lingxiao realm. Doing so would give the Flying Phoenix a reason to strike, and her old enemies would soon come knocking. Rather than draw disaster upon the Lingxiao realm, she chose to face the challenge head-on, stepping out to reclaim her path to the Ancient Heavenly Emperor realm step by step. The far western ashlands before her now represented the first life or death trial on this path. She would either overcome it or perish, there was no third option. Meanwhile, the third palace master and Tang Shituo were pursuing the Demon Kingdom Crown Prince, whose ancestral field had been shattered by Zhenhai Guanwu. Severely wounded, the prince fled northward, straight into the nether realm of the dead. Master. The third palace master murmured, her heart heavy with bitterness. How could she fail to understand her master's profound intentions? If she did not confront the Flying Phoenix's wrath in the far western ashlands, that fury would descend upon every human in the Lingxiao realm. Li Wei fought his way through countless miles, finally shaking off the rice corpses and reaching a prefecture untouched by the corpse cultivation rice. He dared not linger, sensing danger lurking at every turn. His spiritual chi was severely depleted, and his physical stamina was pushed to its limits. The Cloud Heaven Immortal Plane had been a hopeless battle from the start. Perhaps the entire Lingxiao realm would soon become a demon kingdom, a rice realm, or part of the nether realm of the dead. In any case, there would be no place left for humanity to survive. What should he do next? As Li Wei hurried onward, he debated whether to return to Li Prefecture. If the entire Lingxiao realm fell, how could Li Prefecture possibly escape? Given the Yang Shenjing and Sui sect's hatred for the Zhu Li tribe, they would surely slaughter every last member. Master. Master. A small girl's voice, like a dreamlike murmur, echoed from the back of his neck, followed by soft sobs. Li Wei's heart leapt with joy. Yu Yaozi has awakened. Though Zhenhai Guanwu had obtained her 2 other sure heavenly pills, they were not self-cultivated and could never fully grasp their essence, nor unleash Yu Yaozi's full combat potential. The Eastern Territory enjoyed a relatively mild climate, warmed by currents from the East Sea. Towering mountains and dense vegetation painted the landscape a vibrant green, even in winter, untouched by ice or snow. In a mountain valley, beside a clear stream, Li Wei dispelled his cloak and gently set Yu Yaozi down on a massive boulder by the water's edge. After careful consideration, he bowed respectfully. Grand Palace Master, Lingxiao City is in grave danger. Your master, Zhenhai Guanwu, instructed me to bring you away. Now that you've awakened, we must return immediately to assist her. He couldn't afford to be careless. How much had Yu Yaozi recovered? What if she was still under the influence of the Six Thoughts Heart Spirit curse and unleashed a Shoutian edict on him? He'd have no one to blame but himself. Yu Yaozi blinked sleepily, rubbing her eyes with her small, snow-white hands. She sobbed bitterly, like a little girl still shaken by a nightmare. Her lips quivered as she looked at Li Wei, then burst into tears. Master, they're all bullying me. They hit me, and it hurt so much. Wah! Li Wei frowned, his heart filled with suspicion. He carefully recalled every moment since taking Yu Yaozi from Zhenhai Guanwu's arms. The girl hadn't left his side once. The problem definitely wasn't on his end. Had Zhenhai Guanwu switched the children? Li Wei cautiously approached, whispering, Grand Palace Master, let's not joke around. The Lingxiao realm is truly on the brink of collapse. Wah, Master, what are you saying? I'm Yuer. Don't you recognize me anymore? The little girl cried even harder. I'm so scared. They keep hitting me, Master. I must be having a nightmare. She clung to Li Wei as he approached, pressing herself against him, her entire body trembling. Li Wei spread his arms, not daring to touch her, his expression tense. Grand Palace Master, let's be clear, you're the one holding her. I have nothing to do with this. Li Wei felt that Yu Yaozi's current state closely resembled Tang Wanzhou's condition back then, only far more severe. He speculated that Yu Yaozi was mistaking him for her master for two reasons. First, Zhenhai Guanwu had been repeatedly telling her that her master had returned. In her mind, her master was the person she trusted and cherished most. Second, due to the Yang marriage, Li Wei carried a fragment of Zhenhai Guanwu's soul spirit within him, which her subconscious would undoubtedly sense. An hour later, darkness had completely enveloped the world. Li Wei finished his meditative breathing and glanced at Yuer, who was curled up quietly against him. She hugged her small, jade-like feet, mimicking Li Wei's cross-legged posture. Her large, round eyes darted around, filled with fear of the darkness, yet she tried to appear brave. Sensing her master's awakening, she whispered, Master, I'm a little cold. Cold. With your physical resilience, how could you be cold? Li Wei inwardly groaned. Finally, he sighed helplessly. What's meant to be will be. But he needed to prepare. With a snap of his fingers, a ball of spiritual light flame materialized, hovering in midair and illuminating the surrounding area. Warmth radiated from it. From his boundary pouch, he retrieved a brush and scroll and began writing rapidly. On the first day I met the Grand Palace Master, the events unfolded as follows. He meticulously recorded everything that had happened between them that day, including every conversation, the weather, time, and location. This way, when she regained her memories and cultivation, there would be a clear record of events. Wow, Master, you're amazing. Yuer exclaimed, her bare feet planted on the ground as she stood up. She stretched out her small hands toward the spiritual light flame, seeking warmth, her eyes shining with delight and admiration. Li Wei gasped inwardly, adding, Wow, Master, you're amazing, to his notes. Closing the booklet, he said, Grand Palace Master, we need to leave. Danger could strike at any moment. Yuer nodded, her gaze fixed on him. Li Wei led the way, with Yuer following closely behind. Her bare feet occasionally stung against the sharp stones and dry twigs scattered across the ground. She winced in pain but bit her lip, refusing to make a sound. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was following them, and she kept glancing back. Suddenly, a nightingale's cry startled her into sprinting forward. She threw her arms around Li Wei, clutching his robes tightly. Master, I'm scared. Li Wei stood frozen for a long moment, torn between his duty and his compassion. Finally, he crouched down. Carry on my back, or in my arms. Carry me. Yuer immediately said. Li Wei scooped her up and leapt forward, soaring between the cliffs in strides of dozens of meters, continuing their rapid journey. Master, Yuer murmured, her small head resting against his shoulder as she listened to the whistling wind, can you stop calling me, great princess? I'm not a princess, just a wild girl. All right, Li Wei replied. After a moment's thought, she whispered again, Master. I'm a little hungry. We'll eat when we find a village ahead. Okay, Master. You're the best. You're the best master in the world. Li Wei's heart was a tangle of emotions, joy and worry intertwined. His thoughts drifted back to the Cloud Heaven Immortal Plane, then to Chu Prefecture and Li Prefecture, burdened by countless concerns yet powerless to act. A month later. Wangjiang Border City, located at the intersection of the Eastern Territories' Azure Province, the Southern Territories' Coffin Prefecture, and the Nether Realm of the Dead, was a city of several 100,000 people. Situated on the edge of darkness, it straddled the boundary between the living realm and the nether realm. The city had no walls, and humans and dead spirits coexisted within its borders. It served as a crucial gateway to the nether realm of the dead for the Lingxiao realm. Netherworld merchants, ghost hunters, desperate fugitives, martial mystic path powerhouses exploring secret realms. All manner of individuals who interacted with the nether realm of the dead, as well as dead spirits who dealt with the living realm, converged here. Over the past month, Li Wei and Yuer had been staying in the city, awaiting definitive news of the war in the Lingxiao realm. This would determine their next course of action. The distance was vast, the Lingxiao realm immense, and the war raged on relentlessly, bringing endless calamities. Rumors flew thick and fast, making it nearly impossible to distinguish truth from falsehood. The Five Seas realm and Dao Seed realm martial mystic cultivators who had fled to Wangjiang border city knew nothing of the actual situation, merely parroting hearsay. Li Wei, however, had not been idle. Using the cocoon of time, he had devoted himself to studying the true scripture and comprehending the Dao. After 5 months of relentless effort, the Dao seed within his divine pivot finally bloomed into 12 Dao lotus petals, allowing him to ascend to the 4th heaven of the Dao seed realm. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuanhuan Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 179, 434, The Border Town Inn. 179th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Blood Mud Space. Inside the Buddhist shrine, a square iron box measuring 1 foot on each side. Within the box lay a page of the Bhagavata Sutra, also known as the Luminous Star Tome. According to inscriptions on the stone walls of the underground immortal mansion, the Luminous Star Tome has a mysterious origin, tracing back to an ancient catastrophe caused by a meteor shower. Amidst the calamity, the Bhagavata Buddha rose to prominence, collecting the fallen stars, deciphering its mystical energy, and forging the Luminous Star Tome. 1 star, 1 sutra page. A total of 42 pages. The stars may not be literal celestial bodies. Yet each page was undeniably heavy, even Tang Wanzhou, a cultivator in the immortal realm, could not budge it. Every page of the sutra was inscribed with the Bhagavata Buddha's lifeblood and wisdom, its characters imbued with supreme spiritual power and profound meaning. Through successive calamities, the 42 pages of the Luminous Star Tome were gradually lost. After millennia of excavation in the underground immortal mansion, the Twin Rice sect unearthed only 9 pages, which they named 3,000 Stars of Bhagavatas. Unable to comprehend the scripture's meaning, even the Rice ancestor could only comprehend this one imperial technique from it. Li Wei believed the page he had found was likely the 10th. The Twin Rice sect had deciphered the ancient scriptures of the Bhagavata sect, and Li Wei had also studied their deciphered scriptures. Yet this 10th page of the Luminous Star Tome remained as inscrutable as a heavenly tome, utterly incomprehensible. For days, he sat cross-legged in meditation, meticulously absorbing the radiant power emanating from the scripture. Like comprehending the 9 heavens' secret treasury, he simultaneously grasped the Buddhist essence and directly absorbed the luminous energy into the spirit realm between his eyebrows. Within the spirit realm, the psychic power light, dominated by the golden crow flame, subtly began to transform. Time ticked by, second by second. Tiny specks of white light emanated from Li Wei's body, coalescing into a luminous halo around him, imbuing him with an aura of divine purity and flawlessness. His decision to directly absorb the power of light stemmed from the legend of the spirit platform blazing starstone fragment. In its complete form, the stone was said to be as massive as a mountain, likely a fragment of an extraterrestrial meteorite. After consuming the star spiritual pill, Li Wei's psychic power had reached the peak of the 6-star spiritual master realm. Prior to this, he had refined numerous spirit platform blazing starstone fragments in an attempt to condense his 7th spiritual power, Nianli, star. All attempts had ended in failure. Whether in the martial mystic Dao or psychic power, the 7th realm represented a major threshold, notoriously difficult to break through. The spirit platform blazing starstone fragments had to be used sparingly. Li Wei absorbed the power of light from the luminous star tome in the hopes of making it easier to break through to the 7-star spiritual master realm. If it proved effective, advancing to the 8-star and 9-star spiritual master realms would naturally become much smoother. Psychic power light, primarily composed of golden crow flame, possesses immense power, granting inheritors combat prowess far surpassing those of the same realm. However, its overwhelmingly yang and masculine nature makes it difficult to condense into psychic power, Nianli, stars. The power of light not only tempers the violent psychic flames, making it more refined, but also elevates the purity of the psychic flames to a higher level. Sensing the changes in psychic power within his spirit realm, Li Wei ceased absorbing the power of light and closed the iron box. He planned to absorb more for a while before attempting to break through to the 7-star spiritual master realm again. Reaching the 7-star spiritual master realm would truly open up vast horizons. Below the immortal realm, few figures would still warrant his caution. As for the martial mystic Dao insights gained from comprehending the 10th page of the scripture, they had merely imprinted 8 luminous scripture characters onto his divine gate Dao Lotus. The entire scripture contained over 400 ancient characters. Even attempting to imprint them all would require an immense amount of time. He could only hope that fully imprinting the Dao Lotus would trigger some transformative change. Outside, a little tyrant awaited. Li Wei dared not linger in the blood-mud space. The space trembled in concentric circles as his form returned to the inn room. The guest room was spacious, divided into inner and outer chambers. In the inner chamber, Li Wei had set up a formation, unwilling to reveal the secret of the Dao ancestors' Tai Chi fish to Yuer. She was Yuer now, obedient and docile. But who knew if she would remain so tomorrow? Through the shimmering barrier of the formation, Li Wei observed the outer chamber. Within his field of vision sat a 4- or 5-year-old girl with a pure immortal physique, dressed in white robes and her hair tied in 2 small braids. She sat at the table, diligently practicing her calligraphy. This was the task Li Wei had assigned her that morning before beginning his cultivation session. He had no choice. He needed to seize every moment to cultivate and enhance his strength, and couldn't stay with her constantly. Nor did he dare let her wander outside. Thus, he had given her something to occupy her time. Yuer possessed remarkable focus, having already copied a thick stack of scriptures. From morning until late afternoon, as the sun began to set. Whoosh! With a flick of his finger, Li Wei dispelled the formation's barrier and approached her. He examined the scriptures on the table. Excellent. Your calligraphy has improved. Are you hungry? Let's go downstairs and get something to eat. Master, let me finish copying this passage first, Yuer replied. Li Wei had taught her how to write. After waiting about 15 minutes, Yuer put down her brush, rubbed her aching little hand, and slid off the chair, gripping the edge of the table. Master, let's go. She was wearing a pair of embroidered blue cloth shoes. Don't be so foolish in the future, Li Wei said, fearing future repercussions. I only asked you to copy scriptures when you're bored, to pass the time. I didn't mean for you to keep writing all day. As they descended the stairs, Yuer pursed her lips, hesitating before finally asking, actually. Master, I want to practice the martial mystic Dao too. Uncle shopkeeper said martial mystic Dao experts can leap over walls and walk on rooftops, they're so amazing. You don't need to practice the martial mystic Dao, Li Wei replied. Yuer pondered this, then asked, Master, can you fly and teleport? Are you even stronger than martial mystic Dao experts? I'm not strong, Li Wei quickly denied. Yuer fell silent, thinking her master didn't want to teach her. When they reached the first floor of the inn, they ordered 3 dishes. Noticing her gloomy mood, Li Wei said, you're better suited for cultivating psychic power. Master can teach you the methods to cultivate psychic power. Yuer's round eyes lit up. Can I leap over walls and walk on rooftops? Of course. Can I become as strong as you, Master? I'm not strong. The inn stood in the bustling heart of Wangjiang border city, a 4-story structure with 4 interconnected buildings housing over 50 guest rooms. The innkeeper was not an ordinary man, running a thriving business that even catered to dead spirits from the Nether Realm. The streets outside were far more crowded than usual, with large groups of soldiers marching past at frequent intervals. The sounds of carriages and horses never ceased. On the inn's ground floor, the number of diners had also noticeably increased. All were martial mystic Dao cultivators of considerable strength, some carrying spiritual artifacts on their backs, others with cosmic pouches at their waists. Li Wei even spotted a martial mystic cultivator from the Dao Seed realm among them. I heard the combined forces of the Zuaoqiu sect and the Zhu Li clan have breached Coffin Mountain. But the Buddha's Salvation bandits had already retreated into the Nether Realm of the Dead. Shu Fodu fled faster than anyone. What good is retreating into the Nether Realm of the Dead? Sooner or later, ordinary martial mystic cultivators will become soul food and blood food for the dead spirits. Old Zhang, didn't you say yesterday that the human race army in the southern territory suffered heavy losses in a demon race counterattack? That was false information deliberately spread by the Buddha's Salvation bandits of Coffin Mountain to maintain morale. Over the past month, Li Wei had heard countless rumors, silently organizing and categorizing them. Some of the information, at least, seemed reliable. For instance, Ancestor Kangming of the Zhu Li has emerged, commanding all Lingxiao strange insects, destroying the heretical sect's corpses' rice cultivation. Lingxiao City has been destroyed, with millions dead or wounded. The flying phoenix cries, and 10,000 demons prostrate themselves. Among these rumors, the most reliable news concerned the army of the dead. Wangjiang border city was located near the southeast Nether Realm, the territory of the dead spirit overlord, Lord Lan. In recent days, fallen spirit powerhouses had been fleeing back from the Lingxiao realm daily. They traveled at breakneck speed, their chi fluctuations so intense they sometimes manifested as ghostly winds or caused earth-shattering tremors. Yet these fallen spirit giants, once renowned for their terror across Qing province and Coffin prefecture, now appeared utterly panicked. Stripped of their century-old ferocity, they dared not linger in the city, instead fleeing directly into the depths of the Nether Realm. The Army of the Dead's route undoubtedly indicated that the war situation wasn't as dire as initially feared. The innkeeper, Huang Liao, appeared to be in his 40s, with a sallow complexion and cultivation at the second stage of the Dao Seed realm. Anyone who could establish a foothold in Wangjiang border city had a story and a history. Li Wai had been staying at the inn for nearly a month. Through numerous interactions, both parties had sized each other up. Huang Liao sat down at the table and whispered, "Brother Li, I have confirmed news, the heretical sect is completely destroyed. Even their main hall has been breached, and Coffin Mountain no longer exists. A large number of sect remnants and Buddha's Salvation bandits have entered the city, preparing to sail out to sea via the Huang River." Sail out to sea? Are they fleeing to an island, or another life realm? Li Wai asked. The Huang River, which flows through the Nether Realm of the Dead, stretches 2,000 miles before emptying into the East Sea. The East Sea is a vast inland sea located south of Yingzhou, shaped like a long, narrow strip of water. Its width spans 10,000 miles, while its length is said to extend over 90,000 miles, reaching deep into the Nether Realm. Normal ships would take years to cross the East Sea. A millennium ago, when the Lingxiao realm controlled 300 provinces, human activity extended 30,000 miles into the East Sea. Now, they only hold a narrow coastal strip. The three island barbarians of the Eastern Territory, Wai Island, Bai Island, and Jiaoyi Island, reside within the 10,000-mile coastal waters. Even so, once their maritime formations are activated, the imperial court's armies are helpless, unable to eradicate them. The East Sea is treacherous and boundless, teeming with malevolent demons. Travelers might encounter colossal beasts like flood dragons, cloud kuns, and Xiangliu. Both shores of the sea are shrouded by the Nether Realm of the Dead, where terrifying entities among the dead spirits frequently emerge. Indeed, even the other side of the sea, rumored to connect to the rainforest life realm, deterred humans from attempting the perilous sea voyage. The open sea offered no concealment, making travelers easy targets for dead spirit fiends. Smuggling routes through the land and underground were comparatively safer, though the darkness made it easy to lose one's way. They must have fled to the islands. Huang Liao said, with their cultivation levels, attempting a mass escape to the rainforest life realm. They wouldn't even need the dead spirit fiends to intervene. A single rogue wave during a storm would send them all crashing into the sea. The East Sea's weather is terrifying, especially the Yin Fiend hurricanes, they can shatter even the strongest defensive formation barriers. Li Wai nodded inwardly. The Twin Rice sect, Dragon sect, and three island barbarians were now truly in the same boat. Manager Huang, have you ever sailed the sea? Li Wai asked. Huang Liao chuckled. Back when I achieved my breakthrough Dao Seed, I was brimming with arrogance, convinced I was the master of the mortal realm and could conquer any corner of the world. I joined an expedition to the East Sea to seek the Dragon clan's treasure. I barely survived. That brush with death humbled me, and I settled down to run an inn in Wangjiang border city. Li Wai didn't believe a word of it. Wangjiang border city was no place for the meek. Anyone who dared to stay here had nerves of steel, gambling their lives for every transaction. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuanhuan Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 180 435 Fallen Spirit Market. 180th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Huang Liao straightened his expression. By the way, Brother Li, the Fallen Spirit Market opens tonight and lasts for 2 days. Do you need yang repelling pearls or Nether Realm human skin? Give me 2 yang repelling pearls. How much? Li Wai asked. Huang Liao produced 2 yang repelling pearls and placed them before Li Wai. No need for payment. Brother Li, you're clearly no ordinary man. Consider this Huang Liao making a friend. Li Wai didn't refuse, not wanting to appear overly pretentious. If the man genuinely wanted to be friends, Li Wai was the type to welcome friendship, not one to isolate himself. To the dead spirits, living beings entering the Nether Realm of the Dead shone as brightly as torches. Yang repelling pearls and Nether Realm human skin were used to conceal the aura of the living. Li Wei's primary reason for visiting the Fallen Spirit Market was to purchase phoenix blood tree leaves. The phoenix blood tree had once been the foremost wonder of Yu State, one of the 300 states of Lingxiao, rivaling the earth demon pine of the Six Thoughts Zen Temple. Now submerged in the Nether Realm of the Dead, its leaves were nearly impossible to obtain in the living realm. Phoenix blood tree leaves are invaluable treasures for refining tendons and sculpting skin, in physical cultivation, far surpassing the effects of divine cauldron wood. Li Wei's current physical cultivation had progressed furthest in refining his muscles and organs, having already refined 7 jin of immortal soil. However, his progress was severely hampered by the lagging development of his bones, tendons, and skin, making the refinement and absorption of immortal soil excruciatingly slow. His great perfection golden bone was only about 30% complete. His tendons and skin, on the other hand, had only reached about 20% of their cultivation. According to Li Wei's calculations, if he could cultivate his tendons and skin to 30% of the immortal body's strength, he could challenge martial mystic cultivators in the 7th heaven of the Dao Seed realm using only his physical power. If both his golden bone and tendons skin reached 50% of the immortal body's strength, his physical power would be enough to directly confront martial mystic cultivators in the 9th heaven of the Dao Seed realm. Huang Liao reminded him, transactions at the fallen spirit market are typically conducted using blood crystals. Brother Li, if you haven't prepared any, you should hurry to the city to exchange some. Alright, many thanks, Manager Huang. Li Wei watched Huang Liao depart, sensing that the manager was concealing many secrets. After sharing a meal with Yuer, they headed into the city to exchange for blood crystals. Li Wei had no shortage of blood crystals. He carried multiple boundary pouches, each brimming with wealth befitting a top-tier expert from the Dao Seed realm. Yet, refusing to exchange any would expose his secret hoard. Exchanging a small amount would maintain the illusion of normalcy. As dusk deepened, bone lamps hung beside some streets, marking human dwellings, while ghostfire lanterns floated beside others, indicating homes of dead spirits. Boom. A long convoy thundered past, half filled with martial mystic cultivators and half with supplies. Among them were Buddha's Salvation bandits in monastic robes and ricefolk experts. Li Wei pulled Yuer aside to let the convoy pass. At the head of the procession, he spotted a familiar face, Yi Zhouzu, the thousand-guard commander of the Heavenly Principles Tianli Hall. Though his features were still sharp and resolute, he looked no older than 30. Riding beside Yi Zhouzu was another man with strikingly similar features, dressed in black. This must be Kanye Shui, his Rendao brother. One had reached the 5th heaven of the Dao Seed realm, the other the 6th. Such powerful figures would command immense respect at the Twin Rice sect's cultivation headquarters. Yet here they were, covered in blood and grime, fleeing toward the ferry crossing like fugitives. Li Wei harbored a grudge against Yi Zhouzu, but he didn't want to stir up trouble. He feared that Twin Rice sect giants might have escaped here, and there was no need to provoke a group of desperate people on their last legs. Back at the inn, he finished packing his belongings. A group of over 20 people had already gathered at the inn's entrance, all heading to the fallen spirit market. Some wore nether realm human skin, their faces pale and appearances terrifying. Li Wei secretly resolved that after purchasing Phoenix blood tree leaves at the fallen spirit market, he would immediately seek out the combined forces of the Zuaoqiu clan and the Zhu Li tribe. The human clan of the Lingxiao realm must be faring well. Night fell completely. Huang Liao and an elder with disheveled white hair descended the stairs, leading a dozen blue spirit steeds behind them. Huang Liao introduced with a smile, the fallen spirit market is 200 li from Wangjiang border city. Old Yao will guide us tonight. As a former Nether Lantern guide of the Zhu Li Divine Hall, Old Yao can discern fortune and misfortune and navigate the Netherworld freely without ever getting lost. Yao Qingfeng waved his hand hastily, don't flatter me. This old man has never ventured more than 1,000 li into the Netherworld. My survival isn't due to any great skill. Let's go, Huang Liao said, the other teams in the city have already set out. We should follow. Yao Qingfeng, holding an ancient bronze lamp, rode the lead soul steed at the head of the group. Huang Liao brought up the rear. Li Wei and Yuer shared a soul steed, their eyes fixed on the ancient lamp. It was indeed a nether lamp from the Zhu Li Divine Hall, identical to Li Ling's. This was highly peculiar. Nether Lantern guides held immense status within the Zhu Li tribe, almost always disciples of the 9 great priests. How could such a figure have fallen to this state? After leaving the city, Li Wei deliberately slowed his soul steed, dropping back to ride alongside Huang Liao at the rear of the group. Manager Huang, are you also heading to the fallen spirit market to buy something? He asked. Huang Liao shook his head with a bitter smile, I'm here to escape the calamity. With so many heretical sects and Buddha's Salvation bandits fleeing to the Huang River, the combined forces of the Zuaoqiu clan and the Zhu Li tribe will likely arrive within days. The living realm is drenched in blood, yet who would have imagined the nether realm of the dead would be safer? In the distance, the Huang River ferry landing glowed with torches. Hordes of Twin Rice sect and Buddha's Salvation bandits routed troops were frantically boarding ships, clearly preparing to flee overseas. Massive warships had already set sail, heading east along the river. After crossing the ferry, the group of over 20 officially entered the pitch-black nether realm of the dead. Li Wei felt the temperature plummet, and the spiritual qi in the air grew thin and frigid. An unknown dark force was invading his body, requiring him to circulate his spiritual qi to refine and expel it. This posed no immediate threat, but living beings with insufficient cultivation would inevitably suffer if they remained in the nether realm for too long. Visibility was severely limited, even darker than night in the living realm. The ground was devoid of green vegetation, covered instead with black, thorn-like vines that were both sharp and incredibly tough. Besides their group, numerous other parties were traveling both ahead and behind them. Occasionally, martial mystic cultivators confident in their high cultivation would ride exotic beasts, speeding past without fear. Since they were only traveling along the nether realm's edge, they didn't even bother carrying yang-repelling pearls or nether realm human skin. Huang Liao frowned. Every month when the fallen spirit market opens, large numbers of humans and demons flood into the trade market, but tonight seems unusually crowded. Boom. Several miles away in the darkness, two spiritual artifacts collided, sending brilliant light and dust erupting into the air. Martial mystic path experts were clashing, their battle quickly receding into the depths of the nether realm. Manager Huang's prediction came true, Li Wei thought, his mood brightening considerably. The war has indeed spread to Wangjiang border city. After all, the approaching armies belong to the Zuoqiu clan and the Zhu tribe. The fallen spirit market was built on the ruins of an ancient county town, surrounded by a desolate, desert-like landscape. The crests of the low hills undulated like waves. From afar, the entire market was bathed in clusters of blue flames, radiating a lively and chaotic atmosphere. Corpse generals and ghost generals maintained order amidst the clamor. The masters of the fallen spirit market were almost all formidable entities from the netherworld. Upon entering the market, the group dispersed, each member heading off to purchase their desired items. Huang Liao, acting as Li Wei's guide, explained, dead spirits that reach the general level, equivalent to the 5 Cs realm among human martial mystic cultivators, begin to develop rudimentary spiritual intelligence. By the time they reach commander grade, comparable to Dao Seed realm cultivators, their intelligence rivals that of humans. However, influenced by the netherworld's dark energies, they remain violent and bloodthirsty, attacking any living creature on sight. Only a rare few, those who have consumed the wisdom spring's waters, retain their rationality. Hearing a vendor's shouts of, Phoenix blood tree leaf. Li Wei hurried over, ewer trembling in his arms. The stall was manned by a handsome young man with pure immortal physique skin, appearing to be in his early 20s. In the fallen spirit market, where vendors were either corpses or ghostly dead spirits, such a sight was exceedingly rare. The phoenix blood tree leaf was as large as a palm fan, golden yellow, and veined with crimson patterns resembling blood vessels. Though it appeared to be a single leaf, it felt surprisingly heavy, weighing nearly half a kilogram. Li Wei asked, how much? 1 high-grade blood crystal per phoenix blood tree leaf. No bargaining, the young man replied. A single high-grade blood crystal was worth 100,000 Xuanhuan coins. Li Wei immediately set the leaf down. Are you trying to rob me? Actually, it's quite fair, Huang Liao whispered to Li Wei. Phoenix blood trees grow slowly in the netherworld, making their leaves increasingly scarce. A clear, melodious female voice called out from behind them, I'll take all 5 phoenix blood tree leaves. A slender, graceful figure in azure robes, her face veiled, stepped forward and placed 5 high-grade blood crystals on the stall. Li Wei stared at her in surprise, then glanced behind her, searching for another figure resembling her. What are you staring at? I'll gouge your eyes out. The azure-robed woman snapped, her gaze sharp and a chilling aura radiating from her. Li Wei immediately recognized her. This was Yang Qingqian, not Yang Qingxi. It was truly astonishing. Li Wei had initially believed that the 2 blood scrolls he had sent would harm Yang Qingxi, at the very least leading to her imprisonment. He never imagined he would encounter Yang Qingqian in the nether realm of the dead. Li Wei had used the disguise technique, and she hadn't recognized him. Now that the Twin Rice sect's experts were massing at Wangjiang border city, Li Wei dared not reveal his identity to her. Moreover, the Sui sect and he were now mortal enemies. They were definitely foes, not friends. The young man turned to Li Wei and said to Yang Qingqian, everything has its order. This brother asked for the price first. If he doesn't buy it, I'll sell it to you. Li Wei's eyes widened in surprise, and his admiration for the young man surged. I never expected a dead spirit to be so principled. I'm impressed. Who said I was a dead spirit? The young man replied coolly. Li Wei sized him up, secretly praising his formidable qi concealment technique. The world truly held wonders beyond measure. All right, I'll buy everything. Li Wei declared, producing 5 high-grade blood crystals and handing them over. Huang Liao, standing nearby, noticed a strange glint in his eyes. According to the intelligence he had received, this brother Li had only exchanged 100 low-grade blood crystals in Wangjiang border city, the equivalent of just one high-grade blood crystal. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuansheng Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 181 436 Rice Prefecture Daozhou. 181st of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Beneath her veil, Yang Qingqian's pair of dark, luminous eyes fixed on Li Wei, radiating a chilling aura capable of freezing a mortal's blood. 5 high-grade blood crystals, casually produced, you must be carrying a fortune. The nether realm of the dead isn't like the life realm, there are no rules here. Whoever has the strongest fist makes the law. I've got my eye on you. Be careful after you leave the dead spirit market. Her voice was low and menacing, the threat unmistakable. She spoke with such confidence because a powerful dead spirit resided within her. However, constrained by Yang Qingqian's frail mortal body, it couldn't unleash its full power. The phoenix blood tree leaf held immeasurable significance for her. Li Wei, now a different man, dismissed her threat with a mocking laugh. Miss, you possess a pure immortal physique, 1 in 10,000, with a graceful figure, jade-like skin, and a face that could topple nations. And you carry 5 high-grade blood crystals. You should be careful too. Such arrogance suggests you're no ordinary person. A cold smile flickered in Yang Qingqian's eyes as she released a surge of powerful qi in response. Then, she drifted away like a phantom, melting into the crowd and vanishing swiftly into the dimly lit streets. Yang Qingqi owed him a substantial sum of money. He had no idea where she'd struck it rich, but her sister had casually produced 5 high-grade blood crystals, making Li Wei consider collecting the debt. Yang Qingqian, in a sense, was Yang Qingqi's sole servant. Yuer, nestled in his arms, tilted her head, blinked her eyes, and asked curiously, Master, what does graceful figure mean? Li Wei immediately began to reflect, resolving to be more careful with his words around children in the future. The young vendor across the stall glanced at Yang Qingqian's retreating figure, then turned to Huang Liao, who stood behind Li Wei, offering a pointed warning. Sir, traveling with a child possessing a pure immortal physique already draws attention. You should exercise caution. In the nether realm of the dead, dead spirits are dangerous, but humans can be just as perilous. Huang Lao's expression grew grave. Brother Li, that woman who appeared to have a pure immortal physique was definitely a dead spirit in disguise. Her cultivation is extremely high, we shouldn't have provoked her. The qi she released earlier was terrifying. We've already offended her. There's nothing we can do about it now. Li Wei felt a sense of goodwill toward the young vendor, but he understood the man's warning stemmed from concern for the 4 or 5-year-old girl in his care. It wasn't concern for his safety. This young merchant was no ordinary individual. After activating the qi concealment technique, his life aura became almost completely undetectable, even deceiving Li Wei's initial assessment. This undoubtedly indicated unfathomable depth in his cultivation. Yet he appeared remarkably young. Martial mystic cultivators in the Dao Seed realm could delay aging and maintain peak vitality, making it difficult to judge their true age by appearance alone. However, having encountered numerous Dao Seed realm cultivators, Li Wei had developed an intuitive sense for estimating their age. Logically, someone of this age and cultivation level should be a renowned figure in the Lingxiao realm, not an unknown entity. The young merchant's stall displayed few items, but their quality was exceptional. Among them were Millennium Essence herbs, 100-character artifacts, and Yin Corpse Dao fruits. 5 Phoenix Blood Tree leaves would only allow Li Wei to cultivate his immortal body's strength from 20% to 30%. As far as I know, Li Wei said, the Phoenix Blood Tree is located in Old Yu Prefecture City, occupied by a fallen spirit great power known as the Crimson Wind Monarch. Over the past millennium, the area has transformed into a bone palace teeming with millions of corpse miasma, making it utterly inaccessible to humans. Phoenix Blood Tree leaves are extremely beneficial for corpse spirits cultivating their physical bodies and are rarely circulated outside. Human martial mystic cultivators can only obtain them by purchasing them at exorbitant prices. Alternatively, they might get lucky and find 1 or 2 leaves blown out of Old Yu Prefecture City by the Yin Fiend hurricane. Brother, would you be willing to share how you acquired 5 leaves? I'm willing to pay for the information. The young merchant asked, did you just arrive from the Lingxiao realm? That's right, Li Wei replied. Let's trade information, the merchant proposed. Tell me about the current war situation in the Lingxiao realm, and I'll tell you how to obtain Phoenix Blood Tree leaves. This deal is definitely in my favor. Li Wei immediately recounted everything he knew about the precise details of the war in the Lingxiao realm. Since the Twin Rice sect suffered a major defeat, it seems the Flying Phoenix hasn't entered the Lingxiao realm, the young merchant muttered to himself before turning back to Li Wei. Lord Lan led a large number of fallen spirit powerhouses to conquer the Lingxiao realm, leaving the Bone Palace in Yu Prefecture city virtually empty. I seized the opportunity to infiltrate the city and obtain these 5 phoenix blood tree leaves. It was that simple. If you have the courage, you can try it too. Thank you, Li Wei said, purchasing all 3 Millennium Essence herbs from the vendor's stall. The Millennium Essence herbs he currently possessed were only enough to feed 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors to the 5th stage of the Dao Seed realm, necessitating a large-scale purchase. The Nether realm of the dead was vast and boundless, teeming with mystical secret realms that nurtured abundant Millennium Essence herbs. Most Millennium Essence herbs held little value for dead spirits, so they were brought to the dead spirit market to be sold in exchange for soul crystals, blood crystals, or spiritual artifacts. The prices here were even lower than those at the chambers of commerce in the Lingxiao realm. As the pair left the stall and walked through streets crowded with dead spirits, Huang Liao remarked, "That man is truly arrogant. Daring to infiltrate the Bone Palace and escape unscathed speaks volumes about his cultivation and strength. He has earned the right to be arrogant." Li Wei had asked the young vendor his name earlier, but the man had only replied, "My surname is Liu." Li Wei had never disliked arrogant people. Arrogance coupled with a principled, benevolent heart, and the strength to back it up, made such individuals particularly intriguing to Li Wei. Unfortunately, the vendor remained aloof. Li Wei continued his search for phoenix blood tree leaves in the dead spirit market, while also sweeping up Millennium Essence herbs. Though Li Wei failed to find any more Millennium Essence herbs among the phoenix blood tree leaves, he still purchased over 20 saplings, a costly endeavor that left Huang Liao secretly astounded. The dead spirit market was vast, teeming with various dead spirits and malevolent demons. Not all were the decaying corpses and skeletal beings one might expect. There were also demons, liquid demons, aquatic demon clan members, shadow clan members, stone beastmen, faceless ones, and more, each a spectacle that broadened Li Wei's horizons. Located just 2,000 li from the East Sea, this area already fell within the sphere of influence of the aquatic demon clan. On the coastal lands, demons and humans, demons and dead spirits, often coexisted. Huang Liao remarked, "Actually, when cultivating the immortal body, phoenix blood tree bark is even more effective than the leaves." Li Wei, scanning the market, chuckled, "Phoenix blood tree leaves are already exceedingly rare, the bark must be even harder to obtain. We can't just barge into old Yu Prefecture city like young Master Lu, can we? That's far too dangerous." Huang Liao replied, "The truly valuable treasures aren't displayed on stalls, you need connections to access them. Having spent decades in Wangjiang border city, I've cultivated some connections. I know a place where you can acquire phoenix blood tree bark and even more Millennium Essence herbs." Li Wei's eyes flickered with amusement. "Why didn't you mention this sooner, Manager Huang?" Huang Liao forced a bitter smile. "I wasn't aware of Brother Li's wealth and influence. Those hidden places are reserved for major clients only." In the southeastern corner of the Fallen Spirit Market stood a grand mansion, its entrance illuminated by 4 ghost fire lanterns. The surroundings were eerily silent, the massive gates tightly sealed and plastered with talismans. 18 yin banners were planted around the mansion's perimeter, forming a formidable defensive great formation. Li Songjian, the eldest son of the Kandli tribe chief of the Zhu Li clan, was the elder brother of Hidden Lord Li Songgu and first commander Li Songgulan. Though 87 years old, he appeared to be in his 50s. Dressed in a gray-white robe, his face radiated authority as he conferred in hushed tones with another middle-aged man within the brightly lit main hall. For years, Li Songjian had been assisting the Twin Rice sect in the Mengshan mountain, cultivating benevolent rice. Li Wei first encountered him when entering the Zhu Li Ancestral Realm to retrieve 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors. At that time, Li Songjian was escorting a convoy of 83 carriages, each carrying Rendao children. The soil within the Zhu Li Ancestral Realm contained spiritual soil, capable of nurturing rice people with exceptional innate talent. Over the past decades, Li Songjian had regularly traveled between Li Province and Wangjiang border city, transporting rice people and secretly salvaged otherworldly coffins to this location. Ever since Li Songgu, acting as an elder, presided over Li Wei and Zuoqiu Hongting's engagement ceremony in Chu Prefecture City, his exposure as a holy spiritual master had nearly revealed his identity as the Hidden Lord. This prompted Li Songjian to become increasingly vigilant. A month prior, when the Zhu Li clan conscripted troops to attack the Twin Rice sect, Li Songjian sensed imminent danger. He decisively left the Kandli tribe and temporarily settled in Wangjiang border city to observe the unfolding situation. Half a month ago, he received an order from the Twin Rice sect's divine son, instructing him to prepare ships, carriages, and soul steeds in Wangjiang border city, the more, the better. The middle-aged man sitting beside him was Huoding vice sect leader of the Heavenly Unity Tianyi sect and one of Li province's most formidable powerhouses. Huoding, exactly a century old this year, was not only the vice sect leader but also the president of the Heavenly Unity Chamber of Commerce. He commanded a vast network of talent, with experts as numerous as clouds, and controlled immense resources. The Twin Rice sect had dispatched him to assist Li Songjian in coordinating the reception efforts. Li Songjian cradled a steaming teacup. I heard the Forbidden One from Coffin Mountain fell in Lingxiao City. Even the two Rice ancestors were defeated by the Calamity Crossing Temple Immortal Master and the Zhuoqiu family's Confucian Dao ancestor. Can we truly survive by fleeing to the island? Huoding said, what, you want to return to Li province? The Zhu Li hidden sect is too powerful. Not only is it led by ancestor Kangming, but it also boasts multiple immortal realm great powers and commands a terrifying intelligence network. Rumor has it that even the divine sect suffered heavy losses at their hands during the Battle of Lingxiao City. What makes you think they haven't uncovered your true identity? Their inaction thus far likely stems from a desire not to alert you. Li Songjian's expression darkened. Huoding lowered his voice further. In my opinion, the island expedition is a ruse to deceive the Zhuoqiu sect and the Zhu Li clan. Their true destination is the legendary Rice Prefecture. Li Songjian had heard rumors of Rice Prefecture. Legend claimed that one of the three great sufferers, an old farmer, had used extraordinary means to drive back the darkness deep within the nether realm of the dead, carving out a small life realm. For decades, the Rice people children and otherworldly coffins he sent to Wangjiang border city had likely been transported there. Outside, hurried footsteps approached. Yao Qingfeng, still in the courtyard, exclaimed joyfully, Brother Li, a big fish. Huang Liao has brought us a massive fish this time. In the side hall to the right of the main hall, Li Songjian's wife, Madame Yang, and Yang Qingxi peered curiously through the window lattice. Madame Yang, whose given name was Yang Lin, hailed from the Sui sect. She was Yang Qingxi's aunt. Li Songjian frowned. At a time like this, you're still engaging in these schemes. The Zhuoqiu sect and the Zhu Li clan's armies could strike at any moment. Yao Qingfeng entered the main hall and bowed to Li Songjian and Huoding. We are members of the Zhu Li clan. What do we have to fear? The Coffin Mountain Forbidden One is dead, the Twin Rice sect has been utterly defeated, and we've essentially regained our freedom. Has the death spirit fire Shu Fodu implanted within you been neutralized? Li Songjian asked sternly. Yao Qingfeng shifted uncomfortably, the person will be delivered soon. It's too late to stop it now. Li Songjian sighed helplessly and slammed his teacup down heavily. Who is it this time? A young man with remarkably high cultivation, Yao Qingfeng replied. Conservative estimates suggest he's cultivated a Dao lotus. He's traveling with a pure immortal physique girl, carries a cosmic pouch, and is skilled in setting up formations. Are you certain he's young? Huoding pressed. Don't provoke some ancient monster in disguise. Yao Qingfeng waved his hand dismissively with a smile. Relax. Huang Liao has seen countless faces, he wouldn't misjudge someone's age. After all, how strong could a young martial mystic cultivator possibly be? Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Melworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuanhuan Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 182 437 Sixfold Samsara Burning Karma Technique, 3rd Layer. 182nd of Volume 4. End of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Li Wei followed Huang Liao to the back gate of the estate. Pitch blackness enveloped them, the desolate netherworld desert stretching into the distance. Ancient, withered trees stood unrotted for millennia. Carriages and soul steeds were parked in the shadows. Only 2 ghost lanterns under the eaves cast an eerie blue glow. Yuer buried her face in Li Wei's arms, the strange silence and eerie atmosphere making her uneasy. Knock, knock. Huang Liao rapped on the wooden gate. The gate creaked open. A dead spirit servant in gray robes answered, his face gaunt and bony wings sprouting from his back. Li Wei stepped inside. Behind him, the wooden gate slammed shut. A layer of ghostly blue light, like ghost fire, enveloped the entire estate. 18 white yin banners fluttered in the wind, their paper money and white mist swirling through the air. Before them lay a desolate, silent courtyard. The dead spirit servant stood by the gate, his hands clasped, a sinister smile on his face as he stared at Li Wei, who glanced back. Feigning ignorance, Li Wei said, Manager Huang, this place feels a bit off. Hey, Manager Huang. Huang Liao had already vanished, reappearing 20 yards away beneath a yin banner. Protected by the formation scriptures radiating from the banner, he called out with a distant laugh, Brother Li, my apologies. There's no such thing as a free lunch in this world. I'm a businessman, how could I just give you 2 yang repelling pearls for nothing? Weren't we just making friends? Li Wei asked. Huang Liao scoffed. If making friends were this easy, friendship would be worthless. Brother Li, your experience is too shallow. Uncle shopkeeper, you're a bad person after all. Yuer said, her cheeks puffed out in anger. Huang Liao sighed. Yuer, in this harsh world, there are only the living and the dead. What use are good and bad? Yuer looked deeply worried. Master, what do we do? Don't be afraid, Li Wei said, gently patting her shoulder. His gaze swept the darkness. Manager Huang, you've probably done this many times, haven't you? Why target me, the fat sheep? I didn't flaunt my wealth before coming to the fallen spirit market. Young and with high cultivation, how could you not be wealthy? Huang Liao retorted. So you know you're a fat sheep. Yang Qingqian's figure flashed, appearing atop the three-story building directly ahead. Her slender form swayed gracefully, her hair fluttering in the wind, her voice tinged with schadenfreude. Surprise flickered in Huang Lao's eyes, clearly unaware of her presence. This is the fifth divine maiden of the divine sect. Li Songjian emerged from the shadows, his hands clasped behind his back. Behind him, Yao Qingfeng carried a bronze nether lamp. Greetings, fifth divine maiden, Huang Liao immediately bowed. Li Wei narrowed his eyes, studying Li Songjian. The man bore a striking resemblance to Li Songgulan, making him seem strangely familiar. Senior, might your surname be Li? Having dared to commit murder and robbery, Li Songjian naturally wasn't afraid of revealing his identity and had no intention of leaving any witnesses alive. You recognize this old man? Li Wei wasn't very familiar with Li Songjian. 3 years had passed, and many details had grown hazy. He replied, it doesn't matter anymore. Who wants to go first? Whoosh. A spiritual light flickered between Yao Qingfeng's brows. The nether lamp in his hand glowed with renewed intensity. Behind him, thick white mist surged forth, and hundreds of ghost shadows charged out from within. Among them were 2 yin ghost commanders, radiating the aura of Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivators. Dozens of ghost generals surrounded Li Wei. Swish. Li Songjian moved with lightning speed, reaching Li Wei before the yin ghost commanders. Spiritual chi erupted from his body as he unleashed a devastating punch toward Li Wei's chest. The fist's icy energy coated the entire courtyard in a thick layer of frost and ice crystals. Boom. Li Wei stood motionless, yet his counterstrike arrived first. With a steady palm strike, he effortlessly intercepted Li Songjian's punch. Cracks spider-webbed across the ground beneath their feet. Li Songjian was visibly shaken, retreating with lightning speed to create distance between them. Bang! Bang! Li Wei flicked his sleeves, obliterating the 2 yin ghost commanders as they charged forward. They exploded into twin clouds of ghost mist that spread across the courtyard. Huang Liao and Yao Qingfeng paled in terror. They knew this fat sheep wasn't weak, but they never imagined a young man, barely 30, could be this powerful. Li Songjian's heart churned like a stormy sea. His full-force punch had been blocked with sheer physical strength, seemingly without any spiritual chi. Who are you? Li Songjian demanded, his voice low and menacing. Li Wei stood tall, his gaze sharp as a blade. Tell me, who do you serve? The Twin Rice Sector Guanshan. After a tense silence, a 7th grade 100-character artifact battleaxe flew from Li Songjian's ancestral field. His Dao Heart manifestation erupted, and he unleashed the 36 axes of the heavenly demon. The first axe strike came head-on, the icy wind cutting like knives as the axe shadow towered dozens of meters high. Yao Qingfeng unleashed a psychic power attack, his eyes locked on Li Wei, targeting his soul spirit and consciousness. Clang! From Huang Lao's wind mansion, a soul-chaining iron chain coiled through the air. He seized one end and flicked his wrist. Crimson scriptures blazed across the chain, transforming it into a colossal black iron dragon that coiled around Li Wei's legs. Roar! The dragon's deafening roar shook the heavens. Li Wei unleashed his Dao Heart manifestation, transforming the entire courtyard into a fiery domain. Strands of spiritual chi coalesced into a 7-clawed flame heavenly dragon, sending Li Songjian, Yao Qingfeng, and Huang Liao flying. Li Songjian, whose cultivation had reached the 6th heaven of the Dao Seed Realm, fared slightly better, managing to remain standing. Huang Liao, however, was directly struck and severely injured, even the Yin Banner formation script proving insufficient to protect him. Yao Qingfeng attempted to attack Li Wei with psychic power, but the psychic power backfired, sending him rolling on the ground, his head throbbing violently as he screamed in agony. Yang Qingqian had already summoned 6 Bodhi seeds, preparing to unleash them in a coordinated assault on the young man. But sensing the aura within Li Wei's spiritual chi, she immediately retracted the seeds. Yang Qingxi and Yang Lin arrived on the scene. Yang Qingxi, her face veiled, gazed at Li Wei standing at the heart of the 7-clawed flame heavenly dragon, her expression a mix of exasperation and amusement. These Zhu Li tribe fools. Who did they think they could provoke? Why him of all people? Li Wei. Yang Lin hurried to Li Songjian's side, this is a case of friendly fire. We're all on the same side. It's a misunderstanding, all a misunderstanding. Huang Liao, Yao Qingfeng, what have you two done? Apologize to the Divine Hidden One immediately. Ever since Li Weiyi's battle against Xie Chukai at the Six Thoughts Zen Temple, the Tao Heart manifestation of the seven-clawed flame heavenly dragon had become renowned throughout the land, becoming the signature mark of the Zhu Li Divine Hidden One. Li Songjian hastily lowered his battle axe and sighed, "Ah, Weiyi, I'm your great uncle. Your fourth uncle often mentions you, missing you dearly." Huang Liao and Yao Qingfeng immediately trembled and prostrated themselves, burying their faces in the dirt. Li Weiyi's cultivation was simply too overwhelming. Merely releasing his Tao Heart manifestation felt like a mountain had crashed down upon them. Li Weiyi dispelled his disguise technique. Fourth uncle is fourth uncle. You want to be my great uncle. Do you deserve that title? Answer my previous question. He had no familial ties with Li Songjian's family, only grievances. Yang Qingxi gracefully stepped forward and stood beside Yang Qingchen. They haven't reached the Twin Rice sect's cultivation headquarters yet. Shu Fodu has already subdued them. Li Weiyi understood the situation. He fixed his gaze on Li Songjian and continued, as far as I know, one of the 9 clan chiefs of the Zhu Li tribe has also been subdued by Guanshan. You must know who that is, right? The Zhu Li tribe's greatest traitor, the Hidden Lord, had been relentlessly pursued, but the search had always come up empty. Li Songjian played the sympathy card, his voice bitter, we had no choice. Shu Fodu's cultivation and combat prowess rivaled even my father's. Captured and branded with death spirit fire, how could we defy his commands? Now that the Coffin Mountain's Forbidden One is dead and Shu Fodu has fled in defeat, we are finally free from his control. The Divine Hidden One. Before, we had no choice, but now we yearn to atone for our past sins. We vow to perform countless good deeds to make amends for our past transgressions. Yuer's voice, still childlike, piped up, if you truly want to atone, why did you try to kill Master just now? Li Weiyi said calmly, see. Even a child doesn't believe you. Answer my earlier question. Whoever answers first will be spared. Whoosh. A blinding light pierced the darkness. The sound of wind being torn apart echoed through the air. Huo Dingyan, wielding a 12-foot-long silver spear, transformed into a series of afterimages as he hurtled toward Li Weiyi with lightning speed, the spear tip aimed directly at his forehead. He was the second-ranked figure in the Tianyi sect, his cultivation far surpassing Li Songjian's, having reached the 8th layer of the Dao Seed realm. Li Weiyi muttered, forward. And teleported away, landing on a distant rooftop. The myriad manifestation staff spear shot out from the wind mansion at the back of his head and landed in his hand. Combining psychic power and martial mystic path, a crimson gold flame armor materialized around him. Holding Yuer in one arm, he wielded the spear with his free hand and clashed with Huo Dingyan's renewed attack. Bang! The spear and lance collided, sparks flying in all directions. The building beneath them collapsed with a thunderous crash. Li Weiyi's psychic power had already reached the peak of a 6-star spiritual master. Though he hadn't deliberately cultivated it, his Wind Mansion Dragon Seed cultivation had also advanced significantly. With his combined external psychic power and internal martial mystic path, his combat strength now surpassed Huo Dingyan's, allowing him to hold his own with a single hand. Yang Qingxi had long heard of Li Weiyi's exploits in Lingxiao City, breaking the ninefold Dao image diagram and defeating Xie Chukai, the heavenly pride of the Calamity Crossing Temple. But witnessing it firsthand today brought a different kind of shock. This man could actually face the sect leader level figure of Li Prefecture's top sect with a single hand. It had only been a few months since they last parted. Yang Qingxi couldn't even imagine the heights Li Weiyi would reach in a few years. Let's go. We need to escape now. Li Songjian, Yang Lin, Huang Liao, and Yao Qingfeng frantically tried to activate the formations and flee. You think you can just leave? Li Weiyi roared, releasing the little seven. Yang Qingxi and Yang Qingchen moved first, darting forward like twin swallows to intercept the four. In moments, the tendons in their hands and feet were severed. Their cultivation sealed, they collapsed to the ground. Huo Dingyan, recognizing Li Weiyi's overwhelming power, unleashed a flurry of over a dozen moves, exhausting his arsenal without gaining any advantage. He abruptly retreated, charging toward the formation's barrier. Trying to escape now. Too late. Li Weiyi activated the third layer of the sixfold karma burning technique, karmic fire transformation, perfectly merging his martial mystic power and psychic power. Flames coalesced into a colossal three-legged golden crow, its wings spanning over 10 meters. The searing heat radiating from its wings instantly ignited every structure in the courtyard, even setting the 18 yin banners ablaze. PFF'd. The golden crow's claw struck Huo Dingyan, instantly burning through his spiritual artifact battle armor. The flesh on his chest turned charred black as he coughed up blood and crashed to the ground. In horror, he realized the golden crow's claw had shattered his 7th grade 100-character artifact silver spear, the broken edges showing signs of melting. What kind of Dao technique is this? How could it be so terrifying? Li Wei landed on the ground, his spear pointed at Huo Dingyan's forehead. The massive flaming golden crow swooped down and hovered above him before dissipating into spiritual qi and psychic power light. Li Wei's sixfold karma burning technique had only reached the third layer, barely the entry level. Yet its power already rivaled that of a fully mastered third layer great technique of flame. How could Huo Dingyan possibly withstand it? Master, I never knew you were so powerful, Yue murmured, her eyes fixed on him, brimming with admiration and joy, her voice trembling with excitement. Li Wei ignored her, turning to Yang Qingxi and Yang Qingchen as they approached. If I remember correctly, she's your aunt. Not a blood relative. Our relationship isn't that close, Yang Qingxi replied coolly. So you're betraying the divine sect. Li Wei pressed. I know the divine sun's strength. If we don't pledge allegiance now, who knows what fate awaits us. Regardless of our allegiances, our personal feud has long been settled. Yang Qingxi declared. Li Wei felt a pang of guilt over the blood scroll incident. After all, he had survived several life or death battles thanks to her assistance. Let the grudges of the past fade like the wind, he said, finally letting go of his resentment, but the money you owe me must be repaid. Author's note. This chapter concludes the current arc. Blank. End of chapter. End of Volume 4. Subscribe to the MTL World at Melworld 1 YouTube channel.